Hello students, this is Rekha from Government Science College, Bangalore. Today the topic of discussion is mineral nutrition in plants. So we shall discuss only the macronutrients here, which includes its source, functions, deficiency symptoms, diseases and corrective measures. So what is a mineral nutrient? Living organisms require a supply of organic and inorganic substances for the growth and development. The source of these inorganic materials for plants are the minerals. Among the inorganic nutrients, oxygen, carbon dioxide, and hydrogen are generally absorbed by the plants from the atmosphere, and the remaining elements, the soil, is the source. A mineral is a chemical element which naturally occurs as inorganic nutrient in the soil and are essential for the proper functioning of the plant. The source of inorganic nutrients are rock minerals, and the element is known as mineral nutrient, and the nutrition is called mineral nutrition. And these nutrients are essential for the growth and development of the plant. So the criteria for essentiality of minerals are: the requirement of the element must be specific and it cannot be replaced by any other element. The deficiency of the element makes it impossible for a plant to complete its vegetative and reproductive cycle. The element should have some part to play in metabolism. So coming to the classification of the mineral elements, we have two major classifications, namely the macronutrients or the major elements, minor elements or the trace elements. Macronutrients or the major elements or the nutrients which are required by the plant in large quantities. They are required in more than 10 millimole per kg of dry matter, which includes carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, nitrogen, phosphorus, sulfur, potassium, magnesium and calcium. Minor elements are the nutrients which are required by the plant in less quantity or trace quantity. They are required in less than 10 millimole per kg of dry matter, which includes iron, manganese, copper, zinc, boron and molybdenum. So coming to the first major nutrient, namely the nitrogen. The source of this nitrogen is the atmosphere, which is fixed by some bacteria and cyanobacteria. The plants absorb nitrogen from the soil either in the form of nitrates, nitrites or ammoniacal salts. The function of nitrogen is it forms an important constituent of different proteins, nucleic acids and chlorophyll. Its deficiency in plants can be seen by less amount of chlorophyll, so that the leaves turn pale yellow in color, the plants look very thin, flowering and fruitings are reduced, protein and starch contents are decreased. The shoots remain short and thin with upright spindly growth, prolonged dormancy and early senescence appear. So the deficiency of nitrogen results in general starvation where the plants look sick and conspicuously pale. So the corrective measures includes the addition of fertilizers like ammonium sulfate, calcium ammonium nitrate, urea, etc. The second element is phosphorus. The source of this element is in the form of soluble phosphates such as H3PO4 and HPO4. So it promotes the healthy root growth and fruit ripening by helping the translocation of carbohydrates, and it is one of the essential element in the skeleton of plasma membrane, nucleic acids, coenzymes, ATP and other phosphorylated products. It plays an important role in the energy transfer reactions and in oxidation reduction processes. Its deficiency in young plants makes the plant to become stunted with dark blue green or sometimes purplish leaves. So the leaves sometimes develop anthocyanins in veins and may become necrotic. The cambial activity is checked, tillering of the crop plants is reduced, prolonged dormancy, premature leaf fall takes place, and growth is retarded. And the dead patches appear on the leaves, petioles, and the fruits. The deficiency leads to a disease known as sickle leaf disease. So it can be corrected by adding the phosphate fertilizers. So the next important element, major element, is potassium. So potassium is present in the soil in three forms, namely a non-exchangeable form, an exchangeable form, and a soluble form. Minerals such as biolite, muscovite, and illite release the potassium due to weathering in the soil. Potassium is found frequently in all parts of the plant but fairly at growing points, and it is an activator of many enzymes. It maintains permeability and hydration, regulation of stomatal movement. Its deficiency, the mild deficiency of potassium, results in restricted shoot growth, and chlorosis occurs in the interveinal regions, browning of the tips or the marginal scorching in the older leaves, and the leaf margins roll inwards. In acute deficiency, the shoots may die back, eventually the plant dies. Plants may become stunted with numerous tillers, and little flowering and no flowering is seen in the plants. The deficiency results in the diseases, especially the dieback disease, that is the loss of apical dominance, and the rosette condition in beet, celery, carrot, pea, cereals, and potato. So it can be corrected by adding muriate or sulfate of potash to overcome the potassium deficiency. The next element is sulfur. Sulfur is available to the plants as sulfate ions. It is one of the constituent of amino acids like cysteine and methionine, vitamin B1, coenzyme A, and volatile oils. The root nodules in legumes are affected by the poor supply of sulfur. It adversely affects the chlorophyll synthesis. Its deficiency results in marked decrease in leaf size and general paling of the leaves, necrosis of young leaf tips, leaves remain small and turn pale green, leaf fall is rapid, and fruit formation is, and it results in a disease called tea yellow disease in tea plants, and it can be corrected by adding gypsum to the soil. The next element is calcium. The source of this calcium is from the stone or chalk rocks which contain a larger percentage of carbonate of lime, which gives mechanical support or the strength to the plant, and it is present as calcium pectate in the middle lamella of the cell wall. It is an activator of a number of enzymes. It is essential for fat metabolism, carbohydrate metabolism, nitrate assimilation, binding of nucleic acids with the proteins. Its deficiency results in the leaf margins becomes irregular and become brownish, and it affects the meristematic region and stops its growth. So it results in diseases like tip hooking in cauliflower, beetroot, and tobacco, blossom end rotting in tomato. So it can be corrected by adding calcium ammonium nitrate or superphosphate to the deficient soils. So the next element is magnesium. Magnesium occurs in the soil as silicates, carbonates, etc., and as an exchangeable base. It gets easily leached and hence sandy soils become deficient in magnesium. It is one of the constituent of chlorophyll, therefore it is essential for the formation of the chlorophyll pigment, and it is a phosphorus carrier in the plant, essential for the synthesis of fats and metabolism of carbohydrate, and it is required to combine the two subunits of ribosome. Its deficiency results in older leaves earlier and proceed towards the younger leaves, the mottled chlorosis, necrotic spots, scorching of the leaf margin and the tips. Lime-induced chlorosis is seen in fruit trees, beet, spinach, brassicaceae and cereals. So, in order to correct this deficiency, magnesium sulfate is used as a foliar spray. So, coming to the summary of the major mineral nutrients, the first one is the nitrogen. Nitrogen forms an important component of the different proteins, nucleic acids, and chlorophyll. Its deficiency results in stunted growth, pale green, and slender stems. Phosphorus carries a chemical energy in the form of ATP, forms a component of DNA, RNA, and phospholipids. So, deficiency results in stunted growth, dark green leaves with the dead spots, or it is also called as necrotic spots. So, potassium regulates the osmotic balance, especially in the opening and closing of stomata, and acts as an enzyme activator. So, the deficiency results in mottled or chlorotic leaves, curling or crinkling. So, sulf forms disulfide bonds in proteins, acts as a cofactor of enzymes. It results in chlorosis. The young leaves become light green and some of them anthocyanin accumulation is also seen. So, calcium forms a major component of cell wall, enzyme cofactor, and it mediates membrane permeability. The young leaves at bud condition looks hooked, then die back at the edges. The stalk dies at the bud condition. So, magnesium forms a cofactor of chlorophyll and acts as an enzyme activator. The deficiency results in mottled or chlorotic leaves, tips and the edges of the leaves curl upwards. So, to summarize this topic, the soil serves as the source of nutrient elements. The availability of nutrients is governed by soil properties. The term macronutrient or the major nutrient has been defined, and these elements are grouped according to their biochemical behavior and physiological functions. So, thus, mineral nutrients have a role in balancing function, maintenance of osmotic pressure, influencing the pH of the cell sap, catalyzing the biochemical reactions, and thus it affects the toxicity. So, thank you for listening my lecture.